I'm here today, slightly reluctantly, as the crew will tell you, because I wasn't really sure that I had the right to speak to women, to tell them to rethink their thoughts. This is nothing like the world that I belong to, television. Someone yells cut, and you get to not make a fool of yourself. There is no cut today. So if I make a fool of myself, I ask for your forgiveness in advance. What I want to talk to you today is really something that every single woman in this room has experienced at one point of her life, or many points of her life as she's gone along. It is unspoken, it is quiet, it is insidious. The unspoken truth about women's liberation in the first world. I apparently am a female misogynist. I don't play in the same sandbox. I kind of like the company of guys. I'm not getting married. I'm not having a child. Oh, and I really don't have a Gail to my Oprah. But if I was to follow popular culture with feminists and females of all types all across the world right now, I'm a misogynist because I don't follow the sisterhood. But the funny thing is this. All of us are probably around about the same age. We're either from the second wave of feminism or the latter half of the third wave of feminism. So equality pretty much is in our DNA. We don't have to fight the way that our mothers and our grandmothers did. We wake up and we have rights, and we always have. So it's funny for me that if we have equality in our DNA, the conversations that I hear, the things that are murmured, and the anger that is often uttered makes me feel like as women, we have regressed. And before you all throw your cupcakes at me, what do I mean by that? Of course, there was the militant feminism, old school feminism, okay? The pendulum was supposed to have swung the other way. New school feminism, kind-hearted, loving, the sisterhood, right? But why does it feel then that we're nowhere near that? The pendulum kind of got stuck somewhere. It feels like we've regressed, and we are regressive towards each other. Really, let's face facts. We are a very privileged bunch here in the first world. We are at the pinnacle of what I like to call the womanity. We have the education, we have the power, we have the freedom. Where is the feminism of our time in all of this? Where along the way did we actually learn to hate on each other? That's the popular culture word, isn't it? But really, isn't that a form of female-to-female misogyny? We all know who she is, Madonna. And I'm using her as an example because I could tell you 100 stories of my own. But this is a global, big story. How many of you caught her performance at the Super Bowl? 5 people? 6? 10? Okay. Now we know it was a bit cartoonish. You know, it seemed like a circus and a little bit of a freak show. But 99% of the comments in the backlash against Madonna had nothing to do with her music or the fact that, by the way, she's only one of the top 25 most important female performers of the 20th century who has sold 300 million records. She was too old. She was silly. She was making a fool of herself. 99% of these comments came from women across the globe. Suddenly, here we were, telling the material girl, honey, stop expressing yourself. It's time to act like a born-again virgin. Where the hell did that come from? This woman stands for everything that we say that we stand for. She stands alone. She's individual. She dates younger guys, hey. She does it all without this kind of fear. She is an individual, the true individual that we claim that each of us is. But right now it feels that at this time in womanity, individuality no longer has a cachet. It is all about Haven't we heard this before? Conformity, perfection, comparison. Do you guys watch Mad Men? How many of you watch Mad Men? Come on, own up to it. Why are you watching that? To know how far we have come. Bang. How far have we come? Because if you look at Mad Men as a series, and the kind of conformity, the kind of perfection that the women are striving for there, here we sit, 2012, in one of the most impressive, economic, amazing cities and continents in the world. What the hell are we doing if we are not doing exactly the same thing, but pretending otherwise? We, at this point, many of us, are playing to the same stereotypes, but wrapped up in modernity. Are we female chauvinists? Let's think about that for a little while. Now we rail on and on about the media. Well, I've been in the media. I've been an editor, a beauty editor no less. You can imagine how difficult that job was. And I now am the subject of the media. But we often approach the media as if it is some abstract art form that just exists on its own, that it is sexist. Somebody, somewhere, there is some big bad guy running the show and putting us down. But may I please make a statement that is the absolute truth? Who runs 99% of women's magazines? Sorry? Yes. Who makes the decisions what goes into the magazines? How much of your arm to cut off? Which part of your face doesn't look like it will be okay for public viewing? Who's making those decisions? Women. We are the media. And the media, together with our help, tells us that it's all about power, perfection, obsession, competition, and control. That if we conform to these ideals, we will be women of the 21st century. We will be womanity like you have never seen it before. What a bunch of shit. As I said, we are colluding. I find it very difficult to talk with women when they say, but the thing is there and I bought it and I bought into it. Why do you have to buy it? Why do you have to buy into it? Why do we need to be the tribe? Because you know what happens in a tribe? We all watch Survivor, right? In a tribe, it's all about infighting, it's all about competition, and it's all about who's going to come out on top. Is that the kind of woman that we want to be right now at this time? Is that the kind of woman that you want your daughter to look over her shoulder and say, well, mommy's like that? Is that where you want your sons to grow up and be the types of men to those women? Let's think about this, because I think that we have an inability to take accountability. Where along the way have we presented ourselves or women as anything but victims of circumstance? If I was to have a conversation with you today over a coffee and call you a victim, I think you'd be pretty pissed off with me. But look into your hearts, into your souls, into your rhetoric, into the conversations that you have with your girlfriends, and ask yourself, am I accountable for my own actions? Do I need to fall into that deep, dark recess where we hate upon each other just so that I can feel better about myself and come out on top? Are we always going to be called the insecure race? We need a better kind of solidarity, because the solidarity that we have right now is all of us looking over our shoulders and bitching each other out. And you know what? I'm not allowed to say the word there, but I'm going to say it out here. Let me not get started about our vaginas. Because I am wondering what on earth is happening in the beauty industry to warrant vaginal whitening. Can I just have a show of hands from the men in the audience? If you don't mind, please indulge me. How many of you want your ladies to have whiter vaginas? They're either too scared or they're just fantastic guys. Thank you. Because it seems that we've gone from the sublime to the complete ridiculous. And you know, I'd really like to blame this on some guy who said, you know what, let's just create a new product that women will love and feel even more insecure about. But you know what? When I went to the site to find out who was asking for the samples, it wasn't husbands for their wives. It was women. Women were asking for this. So I'm sorry, but this is the last frontier, all right? Nobody is claiming this. I will do what I want with this. And I'm certainly not going to buy a cream or a lotion or a potion that claims this. But really, this is a metaphor for everything. I'm not saying we're all a bunch of vaginas. What I'm saying is that we are getting deeper and deeper into buying the tripe. When we talk about the beauty industry, again, we talk about the beauty industry as if somebody created it for someone else. But secretly, we're buying the $800 creams, which, by the way, it's all bullshit. All of it. For some reason, we can't seem to be comfortable with our individuality. For some reason, we can't seem to say, you know what, this is exactly where I want to be. Whether you relate to Madonna, whether you relate to Keisha, it really doesn't matter. Where are you right now relating to? Who are you relating to? This whole sisterhood, tribal culture thing has gotten way out of hand because it's reductive. It really doesn't speak to our individual experiences. It doesn't speak to our individual dreams and our desires. Want to stay home? So what? Ever read an article about a female CEO who's a mom who doesn't feel guilty? Why does she feel guilty? Why does every female CEO feel guilty? What on earth is going on? It's not just us, it's the people writing the stories. And we're buying into this whirlwind of I am going to be the same as everyone else and I'm going to fit in. Really, at the end of the day, we've been through this whole sisterhood thing. What is the impact? Where has it left us? How do you feel about your female friends right now? Okay, let me ask you. How many of you compete with your female friends even a little bit in your head? Right? Why? Why are we doing this? We need to ask ourselves why we get such pleasure from bringing each other down. We are at a confusing crossroads. There's no doubt about it. The women's movement, as I said earlier, you have this militant feminism, which doesn't really apply to our lives right now. But we were supposed to have something else. In these last 20 years, we were supposed to have been creating it. But instead, we have created a kind of misogyny. Everything would have us believe that misogyny is male to female. Sexism is male to female. Chauvinism is male to female. I'm sorry to tell you, or maybe to remind you of some of the conversations and experiences that you've had. It is also, right now, at this time, decidedly female to female. So how are we going to move forward? Let me tell you a little personal story. A few months ago, I was actually out and about promoting a new travel show that I have on a cable channel. I went to a radio interview expecting to have a really good time. Male DJ, female DJ. We had a great time. In the last few minutes of this interview, The female DJ slips this in. She says to me, you know, I and my mom, we used to watch you before. And my mom said she couldn't understand what that fat girl was doing on TV. I used to be fat, so what? And I listened because I wanted to know what the rest of the statement was going to be about. Her mother said that now that you've lost weight, you're so much easier to watch on TV. Just for that, I'm going to put on 20 kg. But in that moment, there it was, right in my face, that stink of pure, unadulterated misogyny. Maybe she didn't mean it, but she sure had a good way of saying it. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is finally, it's at our feet, and it's not just because we're wearing Louboutins. Our energy that we have, this unique, beautiful, feminine energy, is being wasted. It's being wasted on the criticism, the competition, the comparison, the power struggles. Are we going to be bullies, or are we going to be human beings? Are we as women going to be competitors, or are we going to recognize and applaud and hold up each other as individuals? Today, I'm asking you to realize where you are. I'm asking you to rethink. Rethink where you want to go. And I'm asking you to recalibrate how you think. You have choices. You are individuals. We aren't a tribe. There isn't this kind of same, everybody do the same thing sisterhood. You can choose. You can be a feminist. You can be a misogynist. Probably won't have too many friends, though. Or, how about this as a brand new way of thinking and feeling, which is non-gender specific? How about us as the future humanists? Thank you.